In this week's LA Speaks, exclusive video shows an expert collecting samples from a pond feeding the Tangipahoa River near Roseland plant explosion. The results reveal high levels of forever chemicals now being sent to the EPA. I spoke with testing expert Scott Smith about what this could mean for nearby residents. Joining me now is independent testing expert Scott Smith. Scott, nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me back, Christina.
The last time we saw one another, we were on the ground in Roseland. You were collecting water samples from a pond. You have those results. What did you find?
Well, that pond is actually part of the Tangipahoa River. Everything that drains out of Smitty's through the whole drainage ditch network flows into the Tangipahoa River at that point. High levels of dioxins. We found PFAS, the firefighting foam chemicals. And the key thing, Christina, is the fingerprint we're finding matches the ground zero ditches right outside the fence. Smitty's outside the fence has ditches where all their wastewater flows, and every time there's a rainstorm, everything from that explosion and fire flows through the ditches and the drainage system that all connects to Pond 4 that flows into the Tangipahoa River.
You also have pictures of that dam. We were there on site. We saw some of the chemicals going into the river, and at one point you did say that on camera.
This pond is clearly flowing right into the Tangipahoa River. It's not just oil, it's other chemicals and a variety of other things called products of incomplete combustion, like dioxin.
Yes, I did say, I did not want to be right about this, but I was standing with you on that dam saying, look at the discharge right into the Tangipahoa River, that we need to find out and test and find out what's in this water and what is discharging the Tangipahoa River. Unfortunately, we now have the answers, and there's high levels of a whole host of chemicals. And we now know what people are breathing, what people are stepping in the water, and what they're encountering every day when they walk around the community.
The high levels of dioxins and forever chemicals, for people out there who don't know what that is, what is it and how is it harmful to a person's health?
Yeah, forever chemicals, they don't go away. They build up in your body. They don't break down in the environment. And you've got dioxins being one product of incomplete combustion. They don't go away, they build up in your body. That's what makes them different. That's why health experts are so concerned.
What are some of the symptoms?
Everything from cancer, from respiratory issues, endocrine disruption, mutations, on and on and on.
I want to talk about East Palestine, Ohio. You've been on the national news lately talking about your results there.
We found in August of 2025 that the dioxins, essentially forever chemicals, by a factor of 4 are 300% higher.
We went to somebody's house and we watched an independent tester who this community has been using.
This is water coming back up into your basement.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
What are the levels there compared to the levels of what we're seeing in Roseland?
I can speak to the water. The water in East Palestine in one of the creeks was about a TEQ dioxin index of 9. And in that pond that day on October 13th, when you were there with me, it was 48. So it's substantially higher.
And to know it's so much higher than East Palestine, that is concerning.
It's very concerning. And beyond being higher on dioxins in the water, it's the extent of the mixtures of the chemicals.
What do you do with these new findings? Are you going to present them to the EPA?
My door remains open to the EPA. Ever since East Palestine, I've been on record. So far, they have refused to sit down and talk to me. The LDEQ testing from the ditches and the drains into the ponds, into the river, matches my testing. There's no dispute on the testing results. But if you don't test it, you can't find it. You can't find what you don't look for.
There's got to be harmful effects to also animals. I interviewed that one couple who said their dog was getting sick. I think you said since then the dog has died?
At about a year and a half, one of the dogs just recently died. And it's, it appears to be from exposure and, being in that river.
What comes next for you?
Continued to monitor the Tangipahoa River. We've just completed another round of testing. Now it's key on the riverbanks. What we've learned from East Palestine, it's a creek there. And the banks are where the contamination accumulates and doesn't go away. The good news is we can understand exactly what the contamination is. We can bring in and talk to people that can remediate it and solve the problems and restore the environment.
Well, so nice to see you again. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the work you're doing on the ground.
Thanks for having me, Christina.